What are you trying to say, Mark? I'm looking pretty good today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you look damn good. Look at that mustache. Look at that. So, oh, yes, yeah. Well, yeah, I just we're started. Let's go nuts now. Yes, let's go nuts.
Let's go nuts. Let's get it going, Zach. We appreciate your time. We appreciate you being here.
Definitely.
I know that time is something among other resources that you're probably running very thin on in these days here. Tell us about your experience. I guess that's probably what we're most all curious about is your experience on the front lines as a nurse here in North Carolina dealing with the COVID crisis.
Yeah, I guess I give myself a hard time for saying that I'm technically on the front lines. I do have some colleagues and some good friends of mine who are in New York and Boston, so I guess they're full-fledged on the front lines. But I have been working on a designated coronavirus unit, and me personally, I've probably taken care of, I would say, over the last month or so, probably about 8 to 9, 10 positive patients consistently. Luckily, it's kind of come and go, in waves. I'm in a hospital in Shelby. I'm at Atrium Hospital there. And even though it's a smaller scale hospital, we have had cases there. And I'm not exactly sure how much, detail I can give you, but I'll definitely walk the line of saying that we've had cases there and things have definitely been handled probably as smoothly as possible. But it's been an adjustment and a change. And at first, I tried to tell myself that I wasn't nervous to take it on, but as we started seeing the first cases show up and they kind of let us know, hey, this is where all the patients are being tested at, are going to be admitted to this unit, and then if they're positive, they'll stay here and you'll keep these patients as long as you're on for the week. So I definitely got a little nervous after that, but.
Wow. I don't know if you guys can hear that snoring in the background. That's the dog over here, the Boston Terrier. I swear I hear it in my headphones. So I'm like, I wonder, it just.
Don't worry, we're this is intense right here. We're just as engaged as more than the dog is, but but
smash that
is
like button for the Boston Terrier snooze. Yeah. Well, Zach, I had another friend named Paul. He was an ER doc. Working in the University City area hospital system mostly, and he was lucky enough to not actually come in contact, I don't think, with any COVID positive patients, but I mean, he sent me a picture of himself, the whole PPE get up, the whole guard. It was, it's crazy. It's insane.
It is, and that was an adjustment too. I mean, we wear masks and things at certain times if somebody's got the flu or, even depending on what kind of virus it is, there's different adjustments you make as far as wearing PPE, gowns, gloves, masks, and all that stuff. But it's pretty much just a way of, it's your workflow. I mean, you get used to wearing an N95 sucked tight on your mask, and it's true, some of the pictures, and I haven't had any bruising, thank goodness, but I can see how that happens. You wear that mask, just clamp down on your nose and your chin as tight as you can, and then a lot of times you're wearing a mask over top of that to try to preserve N95 that you're wearing so that it's not contaminated, so that you get more use out of that before they sterilize that mask at the end of your shift. So that's definitely some of the pictures you see, I think, have gone out on different social medias about nurses having lines and bruises and those sort of things. So I definitely have that. So I just have to make sure I moisturize extra when I get home at night. You know what I mean?
Dude, I don't know about you guys, but I have the COVID hands, not the COVID toes, not that extra symptom, but I'm talking about the dry hands from just washing constantly and Purelling every day, like the COVID hands. It's just flaky everywhere. There's gonna be nothing left, honestly. By the time this thing, if this thing goes on too much longer, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
You might as well just get
I'm just gonna have nubs. So Anders, I think Anders had a couple of questions for you.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So this is my first time meeting you, Zach. So it's a pleasure.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure.
Honestly. And I want to thank you for everything that you're doing for the community and just for the cause in general. So knowing that you work at a major hospital like Atrium, when did you realize the severity of the situation?
I would say probably even after we got our first case, we were all kind of waiting in the wings when we would get a patient. We knew it would happen. And then I would say about a week or so after that, we had a surge of positive patients and patients that we were testing for the virus. And so I think I started realizing not only is this thing real, and it's not that I doubted it, but that it's here and it's affecting, the hospital I'm working at is in Shelby, and I have gone to work at other hospitals within Atrium, but to see that it's affecting a smaller scale town and area just as much as it is other hospitals, I started to realize that, hey, this thing is present and it's a serious deal. So probably about 2 weeks in to.
Right. Okay. Wow, that's crazy. It's really taking a toll on everybody.
Oh, sure.
Everybody is just feeling the effects of COVID-19. In the news, we hear a lot about just the politics behind everything and how the media can sometimes turn a story into something else. And,
Right.
sometimes I feel like the public doesn't have a clear view of how the whole thing is going. What would you say are some of the biggest truths and misconceptions about COVID-19?
I would say some of the biggest truths that I've found are you can keep yourself safe is the thing. A lot of people have, I would say, not overly panicked in the sanitizing, hand washing, trying to keep yourself protected, and not in that sense, but in so much of the mental panic of, hey, I'm going to get sick, or I'm working with nurses too on the unit. There's a select few of us, but there's some who are 50, 60 years old. I mean, they've got some other comorbidities and they're right there in the thick of it working, and they have kept themselves protected. And obviously I realize we have PPE and stuff you don't have at home, but we do get back to the basics of after all that stuff's off, we wash our hands, we make sure we're not touching all over our face, we try to sanitize before we go home. And I had to develop a routine with that, with, and we'll get more into that with kind of how do I feel secure when I go to the house to make sure that I feel like I'm not taking that home. But I think that mental panic is something that I've seen that you can keep yourself safe. I know there are cases where random occurrences, people have said, well, I had no exposure and have no idea where the virus came from when they've gotten it. But I think that is so much less than what's being portrayed. This is not, I wouldn't say it's something that's just sneaking around waiting to get you. You can definitely keep yourself safe.
Absolutely.
And it just also reiterates the guidelines. I mean, the stay-at-home deal is a real deal. Washing your hands, not touching your face. I mean, as simple as it seems, it makes a big difference.
Right. Right. Definitely. It's important to follow the orders that we're given, that our lawmakers are giving us, that health officials are giving us. I think it's also important that the public take a little bit of responsibility in this whole thing. What would you say are some ways that the public can get involved to help combat the virus?
Well, it's funny to say that I was at the gas station actually on the way to work, and I saw a lady with her gloves on, and then she took the gloves to her car, and I had just pulled up to get some gas, and she was actually thanking me for, going into work because I have a badge on my jacket, and then she says, hope you're staying safe, and she just asked me some questions real quick, just small talk, and I said, I wasn't trying to be smart or anything, and I said, are you taking those gloves home? And she said, yeah, I wear them all the time. And I said, well, you can't really wash those gloves unless you wash them with soap and water. And she was like, she kind of looked at me for a little bit, and she said, I guess I'm just taking all this stuff back to my house. And I said, well, you probably are, and I think the mask deal is very valid. You can limit the exposure to what you're breathing in, respiratory wise. I mean, they pretty much feel very strongly that this is a droplet issue with this virus and the way it's contracted, and that you're breathing it in. It's not necessarily trying to think how to say it. What I'm trying to say is I think the mask is a very valid point. Gloves, I give or take that personally because you've got to dispose of them every time unless you're washing them with soap and water like your hands. So they can work, but it's just extra work, and a lot of people aren't doing that. So I would definitely say, and obviously hand washing, limiting how much you're touching your face, and you take it.
That was me moving one thing and the rest of everything just all falling down behind it.
Oh man.
Never mind me.
I was about to say, is there a car wreck in there?
There's no.
There you go.
Sounds like an avalanche.
I know, it's like a Charlotte earthquake. I don't know if we've had one lately, though.
Yeah, hopefully not. It was not, last one was like what? But there was like one in Statesville around like years ago. But yeah, Zach. So that's incredible that you're doing all this like amazing things right there, and like and doing that, and along with the fact that you have is it a 2-month-old daughter now?
So, so she is. She's coming up on 12 weeks, so she will be
nice
3. So she's.
Oh yeah, congratulations!
Thank you guys. I appreciate that. Yeah,
Hattie Ray. It out there, man. Yeah.
Oh man, her name's Hattie Ray, and she is
Hattie Ray.
Everything and then some. It's such a game changer. And not that I didn't take the virus seriously, but she was kind of my main concern. I know they haven't had a ton of younger babies from what I've seen and read and heard contract the virus, but I wouldn't even want her to have a cold. It's just a whole lot bigger deal when you have an infant like that. So I have definitely, luckily the hospital I'm at, they provide scrubs for you every day. So you pretty much wear clean clothes in and out, and then we shower and kind of decontaminate at the end of the day. So they try to limit your exposure. But even still, I come home and I make sure that I take those clothes off just because they were at the hospital, and stuff is touched there, floating around there, wherever I'm making contact with. And so I kind of have my own decontamination process when I get home, and a lot of it is for my wife Chelsea, but also for Hattie, because I mean, if she were to get sick, I mean, I would just be absolutely devastated.
Yeah, that'd be crazy right there. So there's a whole process. Do you like kind of like limit your distance when like even like carrying Hattie Ray and all that stuff, or like
Well, at first I was kind of like maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't, but then I really just started hammering home that I'm showering at the hospital. I probably may not even need a shower when I get back home, but I'm also showering at home before I ever touch her or do anything, hold her, feed her, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm just being extra careful with making sure that I'm trying to wash as many germs off myself as I can after I've worked.
Yeah, it's important because my dad's actually he's a pediatrician. He has his own practice up in Statesville. So like literally every time I see him, he's like, he tries to like, no, Mark, stay away, stay like 5 feet away. And then like every time I get close to him, he makes me hand sanitizer. He literally has it right with him, right every time. And like
you do with Lysol bottles.
Exactly. Yeah, I literally went down to Mooresville to see him like Sunday, and then like I came in there like, Mark, no, take off your shoes. He literally sprayed me down, everything. I sprayed Fergie down and everything. And I'm like, Dad, it's fine. I've been at home all the time now. I'm okay, but if you never can be too sure, because even for him, he's worried that some of his patients, even though he's been doing like telemedicine, just on call with patients, that he may be worried that he's may have had some exposure to it as well. So like especially for the medical field, like since you're out there, like, and even for my dad, like out there, like literally taking care of like lives and all that stuff, it's important that like you don't carry that with you and all that. So like
it is,
you never know. So it's invisible.
And it's been cool to see the adjustment with doctors doing, telemeds, people on the computer at home, that sort of thing. So that's been pretty neat to see how the adjustments have been made there. So
yeah, it's really crazy and incredible seeing like the efforts that everyone has been doing and in the support, even from Charlotte. Like like even last night they turned the lights green for for just in commemoration for everybody out there. So
that's really cool. Yeah, I've seen a lot of the firefighters and celebrations and things are happening in New York, and a friend of mine said that it actually does get pretty loud when you come out of work because people are cheering and clapping, banging pots and pans. So that was pretty neat. So I talked to him spent about a week or so ago, and another girl that I know that's working there. So that's really cool, man. I mean, you feel the support. I mean,
I remember you even mentioned that before. You were even considering going up to New York about to help people up there.
I did, and probably the primary reason that I didn't is just I didn't really want to be away from my wife and Hattie with her being so young. That was really just a personal time thing that I didn't want to be away from her unless I absolutely had to be.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and she's gonna grow. Hattie Ray's gonna grow up real big and strong. That's what she's gonna do. So
that's exactly right. I didn't want to miss any of the moments, you know. So.
Of course, yeah, that's great. So, Jonah, is there any questions or anything that people are reaching out to on the lives and all that? Or
we do not have any questions at the moment. However, we do have Miss Rachel A. Fitzgerald posted. Hey guys, thank you all that you do in spreading awareness and helping the fight against testicular cancer, and a special thank you to Zach for serving our community and working the front line. Thank you, Rachel, for that. Awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Rachel. That's cool.
Thank you, Rachel.
We're winning out here. We're doing it. We're doing it.
Right.
We're saving dust and saving lives. That's what we're doing. So, yeah. So if you guys are just joining us, anyone who's on the live, Zack Hayes was this amazing country artist. He has an awesome new single that came out. It's called Beer, and he played at our event last year for Paint Your Balls Out 2, Return of the Nut, and he killed it out there. He's wearing his 10-gallon hat and everything. So, yeah. It's incredible. So hopefully we'll have another one soon, though. Like
I hope so.
Yeah.
It's cool. Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, we've canceled vacations, concerts, gigs. I mean, all kind of stuff. It's just total game changer.
What's up, Jonah? Yeah.
See, actually, I was going to ask that, but since he already mentioned, I'll go segue into being a musician, a traveling musician as well. Like, what's kind of how's the musician community impacted by this? Like, are you guys your fellow country singer and bands? Like, how are you guys communicating with each other? How are they doing? And like, how is that community affected? Honestly,
we're staying in touch, and I mean, especially some of the guys that are bigger names that I know, and they've got full systems of people set up. They're scrambling to, move dates back for major gigs, refunding different tickets, things like that. They're doing their best to be able to take care of the musicians, because a lot of those guys, once you get to a certain scale, it's almost like a payroll kind of situation. So they're taking care of them. Me personally, a lot of my guys are still able to, some of them are still able to carry a full-time job or do some things on the side. So, but it's just really making sure that they're doing okay. And I've been able to donate and use any of the money that I've done from live fees. I'm getting ready to ramp that up a little bit more, because it's slowing down a little bit at the hospital. So I don't know if I'm going to be there as often as I was over the next coming months. So that will make a difference in what I'm able to do time-wise. But, yeah, those guys they're really just doing what they can to keep the income like it is, to take care of their bands and their managers, all the guys that are behind the scenes for them. So I've seen a lot of donations going on. I've seen a lot of, obviously, live feeds and things like that. So that's been cool for me, because I'm a huge fan of a lot of guys too that I look up to, and it's been definitely interesting to see what they're trying to do to maintain some normalcy. So
yeah, most definitely. And we with that said, we actually have one question from one of our viewers, Reed Racing. He asks, are there any plans for future shows near Charlotte when COVID is over?
Yeah, there definitely will be. And I've actually was talking to some guys earlier about some booking, and I think it's just going to be we'll check in a couple weeks to see where we're at with when they're going to start kind of opening back up, and hopefully there's plenty of those gigs coming up. I mean, I love playing in Charlotte and being able to see my friends and my people, and I got a lot of family there as well. So it's definitely important for me to get back down to Charlotte to play. So that's definitely in the cards.
All right.
Oh yeah, we sure miss you in your 10-gallon hat right there. So, oh yeah.
I've kept it dusted off and clean, man. I've got a
There
couple
you go.
There. That's good. That's good.
Oh, yeah.
We don't want to get too dirty.
No.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, you did mention before that you've been doing some lives and all that stuff, like what, every Thursday or Friday or something like that, right?
Yeah, I'm going to try to maintain some consistency with that. Like I said, it's kind of been a touch and go basis, because I'll pick up some shifts if they need help at the hospital or see what the needs are other than the regular scheduled shifts that I've taken on and signed up for. So I'm definitely going to, like I said, have a little bit more freedom in my schedule. So I'm going to try to start scheduling some things out. And my goal is to, throw my Venmo out there and the PayPal with that. And things as far as donate money. There's a couple people have reached out to me and said, hey, we were hit hard with coronavirus and we were furloughed with our jobs and that sort of thing. So I was able to send them some cash, and then even like providing lunch at the hospital. That's something I want to do for all the staff that's working for the day. So that's the kind of things I'm doing with the money, because even
that's
though
incredible.
Even though I'm working on the front lines, I still have my job, and so I'm still able to get paid for what I'm doing. So that's, freed me up to not say, hey, I have to have these tips. You know what I mean? So.
I see. That's awesome though. But so like how can like say like even us like donate to that then?
I probably need to post a PayPal or Venmo or something.
Yeah. Okay.
I think most of it's Zack Hayes Music with the handle, but I need to throw that out there for sure. And I'll do it on all the lives.
We'll promote it.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Throw it out there. We got to stop supporting. So
that's cool, man.
Of course. Yeah. So I'm trying to remember if we.
So it means a lot for me to do that.
Yeah,
so.
Of course. So we're here to help. So, but so I remember I can't remember if we mentioned it earlier, but so when you mentioned the quarantine unit, so that's actually separate from the hospital, right? Or is that like is that a whole thing that was made? Or
no, it's not separate. They just took the unit they just kind of selected a unit that I don't know how exactly they did it. To be honest with you, I don't know. I was trying to think if there was some reason that they said, hey, this side or these two sides are going to be the coronavirus unit, but they kind of designated that. And then they asked the nurses who were contract, whichever, regular staff, all that stuff, and said, hey, would you be willing to work on this unit? We actually had a lot of nurses who would say, I have some immunocompromised family, kids, my husband is, got a lot of comorbidities, that sort of thing. And so they basically signed up to say, we're not going to come up here and work. So once we kind of figured out who we had to be able to work at the hospital on that unit, you see the same people a lot, which is not really an issue because we kind of get in a groove with everybody and we figure out what works best and how to keep ourselves safe. So I've enjoyed that. It's kind of a tighter camaraderie right now with who's up there, especially in Shelby. So yeah, it was just kind of thrown out there, and you signed up to go. And if you said, hey, I'm willing to work as much as I can on this unit, however the numbers look, that's how we got to where we are there. So.
Oh man, that's really brave, man. Like seriously, that's awesome. So, Jonas, you got a question?
Yeah. We have another question from a question / another positive vibe comment from Rachel A. Fitzgerald. It starts off, says, first, it is amazing that, Zack, you are not only a husband, father, and nurse, and country music singer. She says,
Sensation.
Sensation, excuse me.
Thanks, Rachel. We're on the come up, hopefully.
Yeah, she just want to ask, how do you find a peaceful balance between it all and pursue your passion?
It's not easy, I would say. I think a lot of times that's what people are trying to portray sometimes when you're juggling all the different acts and things you have going on in your life. And this has just added another big piece to the matter with the not only being a nurse, but also working with the virus and being there firsthand. I am a Christian personally, and so I definitely do my share of praying and meditating and believing that, I'm going to be safe and things are going to work out just right. So that plays a big part in what I'm doing. And, I have my faith to bank on, and I've got a huge support system with my wife and my family, and they really respect what I'm doing. Even as far as social distancing and all the other things that I've got going on. And like I said, it gets challenging. There are times where it's like, am I leaning towards booking more gigs? Where am I going with this? And there may be some, management, different things that go on as music kind of progresses for me, and that's a goal. So that may make it easier, but being an independent artist, it does get challenging at times, but I try to ultimately enjoy every piece of it. So, I've been blessed to be able to keep working. I've been able to write music with different people, different writers, country singers, and musicians while this is going on. So I would definitely say that I'm trying to focus on all the positives, and that helps me maintain a pretty decent balance. I mean, sometimes you just get so frustrated with the way things are going, but you definitely have to bank on the things that you know and the confidences that you have. So
That's amazing. There, you got to keep going. You got to love the
that's right,
process.
man.
Trust the process, right there. So,
Exactly.
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So I got one for you, Zach. Are you inspired to write at this time?
Yeah, I am. I would say, I mean, I've had a bunch of like Luke Combs put out a song called I think 6 Feet Away, and there's some other people who have written
really?
some serious, but yet, I mean, they're kind of touching on some of the different nuances and things that are going on with the virus and the way things are going. But I would definitely say I am, because I mean, you get to the point where you miss your people, you know, you miss your regular crew and your crowd and your family. And I mean, even little things like I hadn't seen my mama in a little while, and the people that mean a lot to you. So I would definitely say I'm inspired to write, and I try not to focus on, I mean, there's a lot of sappy, sad country songs, and that's a huge base for the country music world and realm. So, I mean, I definitely have some fuel for some of the songwriting we've been doing, because from looking forward to summer, hopefully, and what we're going to be able to do after the virus is, you know, after we've kind of found an adjustment and a balance with this whole thing, to missing people, I'm definitely drawing a lot of inspiration. So I would say yes, for sure.
That's awesome. What are you, speaking of missing all those activities and stuff that we're kind of used to doing over the summer and everything, what's one thing you're going to do as soon as all this mess is over with?
As soon as all this mess is over with, I'm definitely going to try to take a trip with as much family as I can. We usually take a beach trip every year with everybody, and we're pretty low key people, I would say, and it's really just get together and hang out, grill, cook out, have a good time, and just kind of catch up with everybody. So definitely seeing my people and eating some casseroles and things like that we hadn't got to do, and then hanging out with my band. I hadn't got to see a lot of those guys and full on jam. I mean, I don't know how other musicians feel, but you kind of get tired of just hearing your own self sing and play. So I'm looking forward to hearing some other people get out and kind of do their thing. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm looking to do. And I'm looking to take Hattie into many places that she can. She probably won't remember anything, but you know, it's definitely.
She's gonna enjoy every single second. So
exactly. She will look happy.
Yeah. That's gonna be a damn great jam session you guys are gonna have there too. Then. So
exactly. I'm interested.
Yeah. Can we get some kind of live stream on that? Is that? Can we?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We can definitely make that together. That's Which I'm interested to see. I mean, how all that's going to come together. I feel like stores and stuff, concerts, all they're just going to bust at the seams. I mean, I hope it does.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Oh, you know it will. I mean, dude, hanging out at Walmart's going to be cool again. You guys remember that?
Exactly.
Hanging out at the movie theater too. So yeah.
Oh man, I mean, it's so weird. It's so weird.
We'll be looking forward to those times and all stuff, especially when you have a show coming up or anything like that soon. So we were checking you out at the Thirsty Beaver before. There was like a little a party there, and you were killing it out there with Taylor West. I think I saw him on the live earlier too. So
yeah, Taylor, what's up, man? Taylor West plays the bass guitar for me. I hadn't seen that. I haven't seen him in a long time, so I'm definitely having withdrawals. And
you're missing him. So and then Brojax too. So
yep, a whole 9 yards, man. Brojax. Yeah, man, it's definitely odd. And of course I try to stay in touch, but you know, it's just not the same.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a little like sometimes when you're just stuck at home, you almost feel like the act of like doing nothing. It feels so. Sometimes it feels so good, and like you just want to just chill. But sometimes it sucks, like because you miss your friends and your family and all that. Sometimes, for me, sometimes I feel like I want to reach out to them, but it's just you just chill, and then whenever you catch up with them, it's like nothing's ever happened. You always catch up. It's like just like yesterday kind of thing.
Exactly. There's not a whole lot that you talk about unless you have a whole lot of history. You know. Yeah,
and like I feel like everyone's like much more engaged, just like this stuff like here. So we're actually like they just want to just be amongst each other again and like just share that love and care for each other. Like I miss you guys so much, honestly. So I miss y'all. So sometimes I feel like when I don't reach out to my friends and family, I'm like, I hope they still like me. I want to call them. I'm just stuck at home. So
and then, I mean, you can only watch Tiger King so many times. Thank God for Tiger King.
I know, right?
Look, I'm gonna tell y'all something right now.
Yeah.
Y'all smash that like button for Carol Baskins killing her husband.
For Carol Baskins.
Y'all smash that like button.
She totally killed her husband right there. Oh my God.
If she did it,
she done did it.
that button right there. That button right there. And then if you don't think she did it, what should they do? Should they post a comment explaining how in the world that makes any sense? She was talking about coating them in sardine oil, for God's sake.
Exactly. Yeah. So they say, the only way.
Yeah, she definitely killed him. And then, I mean, I'm not sure that I'm telling you, I don't know how.
Joe Exotic and all that. So
I was so excited when somebody posted. It could have been fake news that they were opening up the case on Carol Baskins. I was like, I mean, somebody's got to figure something out for that chick. She's not.
I know, right? I feel like there's enough evidence right there on Netflix. Everyone can see it. So doesn't that explain it themselves? Yeah.
Carol Baskins got some explaining to do for sure.
I just had to explain to a nurse the other day that I was working with what the Tiger King was and what all she was missing. So I'm hoping by the time I see her this weekend, she's caught up on everything so exotic. So.
Well, with the legacy of content being what it is, let's not spoil anything else for anybody else that hadn't seen it. If y'all hadn't seen Tiger King, we'll link that down below. We'll also.
We're not sponsored by Netflix, though.
We're not, but
we could be.
Yeah, Netflix, hear us out. Come on, yeah, you got us, right?
I mean,
you're listening. I'm putting mine.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Hulu. Get ahead here. Look.
Amazon Prime. Come on.
Amazon Prime content. Come on. Who else is the big?
I'll go.
Disney Plus.
Look, you can
Disney Plus. Yeah, let's get in there.
You can squeeze us in on Crunchyroll. I don't care.
Crunchyroll. Yes.
I don't care.
As long as you give us some English dub, we want to be able to make sure people understand what we're saying. So.
We will handle the dub.
Yeah, we'll handle the dub. Yes. I'll just voice you, Greg. How about that?
We'll just mix match each other. Yeah. Zach, if you could overdub one of our voices, which one do you think would be funniest?
I think if I had my mustache long enough and really maybe even let my beard go out and then put Mark's voice over mine, I think that would definitely make for a pretty good viewing.
Honestly, I'm jealous of that mustache and beard right there. Like, this is the most I can grow in like a couple of days. I need to just do the whole no shave quarantine thing. So
yeah, and I literally now that's another thing that has to go along with the N95. I had to really back my mustache off, and then I had I've got to shave this again before I go back in because this here and the I'm not sure what you call this whole setup, but you can have a mustache, but you can't have anything chin-wise that would
really
block the suction and the closure on the N95 mask. So I was working on a quarantine beard until they opened up the COVID unit, and that eliminated all that. So
yeah, your beard would just be poofing out then. So.
Exactly, and it would swell up and yeah.
Oh my God! You should have seen our buddy Austin Reed. If you remember him at the
I do. I was going to say what's up to him. I think he was on here.
Yeah, he's on here. Yeah, he asked a question earlier. I FaceTimed him the other day, and he had these big old mutton chops right here. He shaved his beard and kept it empty here, and then kept the big mutton chops right here on the sides. So I'm like, Austin, you look beautiful right there. So he goes like, should I keep it? I'm like, yeah, you should keep it. We're in quarantine right now. No one's gonna care. So.
Exactly.
You gotta do what you gotta do. So.
I know, and the messy quarantine look. I mean, that's in. So it's,
it totally is. So
I know. I'm looking. We're not
y'all
judging.
Looking just dancing.
You guys' lines aren't tight right now. We're not judging. So
yeah. Y'all are looking fancy as hell. So
that's right.
Oh yeah. So what else? How else has everybody been coping with quarantine and all that? So like, what's the best way that you guys have found to spare time? Or spend time.
Are you asking everybody in the?
Yeah, everybody. So anyone. So.
Yeah, Andrew, you go ahead.
Well, I think I've spent a lot of my time just you know, of like everybody else, like watching Netflix, like just catching up on shows and stuff like that. As far as productivity goes, being that I am still in school, that's been taking up a lot of my time. Actually, I find that I've been a lot busier during quarantine than outside of quarantine. So,
yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. So, yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I know. I can say for myself. I don't know. Like for me, even though I'm on quarantine, like I still go outside every here and there and do different activities. Granted, it's usually by myself, and if there are people around me, you know, social distancing, and plus, like I know I still actually like go to my job. I work for a news station, so you know, there's been COVID-19 has definitely affected us a lot. Like the news station is just about empty every day because a lot of the like producers, the reporters, and everyone else, basically, if you can work home, you're working home. And like the biggest thing too, like I remember when the first stay-at-home order got initiated, and like because what I do for my job, I go out in the city of Charlotte and I record breaking news, the bad breaking news, you know, like
you're seeing some shit,
yeah.
I mean, there was a dead body earlier today.
Oh man.
Yeah, person got what's the word? Pedestrian struck on 77 South. So basically, someone for X, Y, and Z reason was walking down 77 South at night, and that went for them. But it's just the reason why I brought this up is because I remember when the effect the to an effect, everything like shut down. Like granted, I work at third shift, 1 a.m. to 9 a.m. So I hear like the constant stuff a lot, like you know, like break-ins, domestic violence calls and stuff. But like. And like there later on in my shift, because I work from 1 to 9 a.m., I literally see the world wake up. Like I work from like, you know, the first few hours where no one's really on the road. You see truck drivers, buses, and people, construction workers getting ready to go to work. And then it's like from that 5 or 6 to 9 o'clock is rush hour. You know, the sun rises up. There's more cars on the road, and to the point where like traffic is blocked. And now it's like every day is like Sunday, meaning like less people. Like everything started. Like what's usually backed up is like it's like Sunday afternoon. Like there's open, not a lot of people out and stuff. Like parking lots and offices are filled with cars. Car is just about empty, and like the city itself is empty too. Like no matter what time of day you go, whether it's early in the morning, midday, or night, it's legit empty. It's almost like it almost reminds me of I Am Legend. No lie.
Oh really?
Like that's how empty it is. Like I remember I went because I ride motorcycles with different people every now and then, and like there was one time on Saturday night we parked our bikes on the street. You know, Saturday night around 7 p.m. It's not, you know, it's not lit, but there's people there. Nah, it was empty. It looked more like Saturday at like 3 a.m. Like everyone went home. Yeah, so
it's weird.
Yeah, like when you get to go out like the more popular areas, you get to see how less people, less cars, and less interaction there is. That's where it really hits you. It's like, wow, like yeah, this is quarantine. This is Corona. You know, instead of saying COVID-19, it's more like COVID 2020.
It is COVID 2020.
Oh, yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
What about you, Greg? What's been going on, brother?
Yeah.
Oh man, I am 100% positive that these guys right here are sick of hearing about the math YouTube channel that I'm launching right now. I promise you, man. I promise you, they're tired of it.
Yeah,
but like,
can't knock your hustle.
Well, it is kind of
Byron. I think I see Byron jumped on here, but anyway, shout out to Byron.
Oh, good morning, Byron. Good afternoon. So,
what's up, Byron? No, I lost my light over here because I've been like, I've said this a couple times and it may start to sound repetitive, but Zach, you haven't heard it. The value of time,
I'm here for you.
The value of time for most of us that, you know, this has been a disruption that we're not able to, you know, just kind of pivot and shift. The value of time for everybody else just dropped to whatever you can do with it. Like if you got laid off your job, or worse, if you own a really small business, like 1 or 2 or 3 employees, and you're like completely hosed on this PPP thing, like it's not even, it's not what they're talking about it being. And you're just kind of left with like no way to claim unemployment, no way to go get business, no way to go get a new job unless you're looking for a sweet job at Amazon, make $12 an hour and get herded into a cafeteria like we've seen on these news thumbnails. Unless you're looking to do something like that, literally it's whatever you can do at that time. So what I've been doing is I've been tutoring math on and off for a couple of years, and I've been kind of debating the idea of like, well, what if I could Skype it? Well, now the only way to do it is to Zoom or video conference. So now I'm kind of taking this time to, really like get my teeth into something I've been talking about doing for a long time. And
cool.
Most people don't like math, so I'll just kind of leave it right there. We'll plug that down below too. Sure thing. Put a link down there. That math guy 3.14.
Yeah, like and subscribe.
Y'all check it out. Like and subscribe.
Man, when Hattie gets old enough, I'll definitely give you a shout out for the tutor.
Yeah, Greg's a great tutor, I'm sure.
That's cool.
So, it's it's whatever you can do. I think that's what everybody's kind of doing.
Yeah. I can touch on him saying that things are like a ghost town. It's like that at the hospital. There's 0 visitors, limited staff. If you're not essential, then they don't really want you there or around the units. So it's always call or phone updates to families with how people are doing. And that gets a little difficult because, not that I've talked to families before, but it's easier for somebody who's not medically inclined to see what's going on with their family member visually and then to explain the thing, but to explain it all over the phone, that gets a little challenging. But it is like a ghost town. I mean, there is nobody but the patients there and the staff, and the staff's pretty limited. So
yeah, you said you guys are like a close, like knit, like brothers and sisters family.
For sure.
All of it. Like, so how many like doctors and nurses are there? Like,
I don't know the exact number. I would say I see probably some of the same nurses within a week and a half period, where before it may be, weeks on end before I see some of the same people working up there. Like I said, I'm not sure the exact number. A lot of the doctors are still the same and similar, but it's just usually pop in, pop out unless they're, needed immediately right at the situation, or they've got to do something right there hands-on. They've cut out elective surgeries, things like that. So anything is emergent if it needs to be done. So there's less of the physicians there from what I've seen, but of course we've got everybody we need, if something goes down. So that's been the case. And then too, I mean, for me personally, during this time, I mean, I have tried to knock out a couple projects. We've done some stuff that we needed to do at our yard. I mean, in our yard. I mean, I tried to take on a couple. I don't know. I mean, some song ideas that I just was like, man, I'm never going to finish that song. I've tried to work on some of that. It's just been a time to try to say, here's something that I haven't done and would not have had this time to do it. And with my wife being home as well, we've been trying to knock some of that stuff out. So.
Yeah, that's great. It's like even with this time, like you're able to like work around, even though you have to work so much, but also like be able to catch up on all the things that you have been putting on the side too. Like even for me, it's like I've been able to catch up on all my stuff too. Like this year, beginning of it was like just everything was just go. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's do this. Let's plan for this. But now it's like everyone's just has to literally step back and just chill for once.
Exactly.
And then and then actually like, focus on some of the things that you've been wanting to do. And like, I think at least from that, we've been able to see like a little bit of positivity. We started to understand it, even though we're always doing so many different things all the time. Now we have a moment to just chill. We're able to like just really think more about our connections with people and people we care about, and then figure out ways to, bring more positivity in this. And that's what we've been trying to really push for this whole month, because with Saving Nuts, we started this Go Nuts podcast because we wanted to start bringing like positive content for people. That's since cool. We're all at home, and then we wanted to help people just like, even though we're going through this tough time together, that like there's still the light at the end of the tunnel whenever we are able to get there, but we're going to get through that together. So and
it's definitely going to be a new normal, I think, for everybody.
It's going to be changing.
Everybody kind of realizes that just yet, but your mindset's different. You're still going to be a little more careful when you go and do things, but it's going to, I don't know, I think things are going to mean a little bit more. And I've been looking at some of the pictures where it's like less pollution and all the things that, affect the environment. So I think there's a lot of good that will come out of this if you're willing to look for it.
Yeah, that's all we got to do is keep
100%.
working hard for it. So, yeah. So,
I was telling these guys the other day about how how I was excited that this is kind of normalizing meeting people in a teleconferencing kind of way. So we've got a bad problem. I can't speak from like a ton of experience, but I was in corporate America for a little while, and there's a bad meeting culture going on right now. And I think this is just ripping that right up at the root. And I think it's for the good too, because that corporate culture, even though I personally am not involved in it at the time, because I don't work for a company like that, but it affects those employees. They get to become ingrained in this culture. And then now that translates to, whenever I want to just, for example, go tutor, this is helping make it way easier for me to teleconference and commute with people. And like, we can't justify meeting together right now. Can't do it.
Right.
So in the future, moving on, whenever, this whole thing kind of is gone, I think there's going to be that lasting impression of like, all right, we're only getting together if we really, really have to, you know what I mean? Like it's not going to be like, it's not going to be that like polarizing, but I think that people will look at things like commuting to work or, going out to go do this or XYZ. They'll start to view a lot of the things that we've done as kind of like unnecessary.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I think so too. And I think people realize like, like you said, unnecessary and maybe things that, I don't know. I think people are making a lot more things count when they're able to go and do. And I think that, I totally agree with what you're saying. I think that's going to be very impactful with the way people's mindsets are when we kind of get going back to being able to get out and go. So
you think about like all the time that you're not using doing these things that we previously accepted as like something we have to do every single day. Like,
oh yeah.
Commute to work is a good example, but like spending so much time getting ready versus like, all right, I'm going to clean off my desk. Like I'm going to actually put this time into something that matters. I'm gonna get more organized. I'm going to take 10 minutes right now. And I'm going to, for me, it's like, I'm going to store a couple things in my draft box on Instagram, get that stuff ready to go. Or, you know what I mean? Like you're using this time so much more productively now that we're not putting on for like, oh, and then we got to go do this thing with these people that we don't actually really want to go do, but we got to go do it. That stuff has come to a screeching halt. And like, I sound so
forced anymore. Yeah.
Dude, I'm going to sound really cynical, but like, I'm really happy about that. I'll be completely honest with you. As somebody, like I'm self-employed, so it's kind of one of those situations where like I don't have like time off. Like after 5, this mentality of like, oh, I can do not shit right now. That doesn't really exist for me.
Right.
So it's like you're either at work or you're thinking about work. And for people like that, I think this is one of those type situations. Like we were already working at home, so we didn't have to make this huge mental shift of like, how do I somehow become productive within the 4 walls of my home? Like, we got this, like we're good at that. And I think, again, those people that really like carpe the diem for what it is, kind of take this time as not like, oh, we got to hold up, this is actually, no, it's pedal to the metal for, a lot of, I see people running out here on the rail trail. And, as long as they're doing that in a safe way, I'm all for using this time to improve things for yourself as much as possible. And for others, there's, like I said, I probably sound so cynical right now just because I'm talking from that perspective. I'm just talking about it from that perspective because, I've been one of, when you're self-employed, there's never enough hours in the day. So I'm always kind of up against this, like, man, do we really have to go do this? Or, does that have to happen right now? And the answer to now it's kind of like living proof. It's like most time the answer is no. A lot of that stuff that we kind of take for granted. It's like, oh, we definitely got to go do this and that. Like, or I've worn that shirt so many times around those people. I can't wear that shirt again. They'll think that's the only shirt I own. And it's like, dude, we're getting over this kind of petty kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I agree. That's a great point.
Like, I mean, I'm talking like really kind of minuscule type things, like kind of micro examples, if you will, but like just a lot of these different things, a lot of these small changes are going to culminate over to bigger things where we kind of shift our value of what's important and what deserves our time and attention and resources.
Prioritize
all this and that. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, man.
So like you said, I definitely agree. Like there's gonna be a lot of good that comes out of this, as well as the bad, obviously. But
right.
if you look for it, there's definitely a lot of positives here.
Yeah, we just got to stay positive, prioritize what's most important, and in like stuff like this,
Absolutely.
I feel like being able to connect with us, all of us right here, that this is what's important. To like, and when you have your quarantine buddies, you really know who the real ones are. Then at that point,
You really do. Yes.
Yeah. You find out who your friends are.
A single week check-in is huge right now. I mean,
it is honestly.
that means a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it warms my heart every time I get like a random phone call from my friends just checking up on me. I'm like, oh, I miss you so much. I wish I could just hug you right now, but I can't. I gotta stay 6 feet away, and then just going on to like a whole like 33-hour conversation about how you've been and things like that. It's like, it's great to just really come back into those really deep conversations, and that's what I love about people. Is like another time when I connect with someone, it's like you get the deep conversation with people, and like I feel like now this time because we really need to stay together as much as possible this time. Like it's helping us learn more about just understanding to be connected, like not even with physically, but like just mentally, just like connected. Like, we gotta get in the same flow and stay positive. So, but yeah, like I think I love all this. This is amazing, and like we're gonna make a cool little video out of this too. So yeah, I remember we mentioned before. We were wondering if Zach, would you like to play some stuff or not? So
well, I was thinking about that, and I don't know if it. I mean, I'd hate to blast, the audio would be some kind of crazy. Something
I think it'd be worth it.
Yeah, wire this thing up.
It's all right, man. So,
but I do have my guitar here. I don't know if you can see.
You do,
yeah. That's great. Yeah.
You can. Yeah, we could see it.
Yeah. Just anything that's like been warming up your heart lately, whether it's like a song that like you've been working on or anything like that. Of course, dude. Like we'll plug in your single "Beer." Have you come out with any other singles lately after that? Or
well, I've actually been working on a decent amount of. Well, like I said, I've been doing a lot of songwriting, so I've tried to connect with guys that way to finish a bunch of songs that maybe I've had kind of on the back burner for a little while, and so I have. I've been writing a lot of music. I've been trying to use this time and be productive in that sense for music, because there's not a whole lot you can do. You can't really, like I said, have band practice or do any of that stuff necessarily, but I've tried to,
just kind of
I've gone to the studio one time, and that was awkward because my friend there, I could tell he was kind of like, all right, I need to let one person in the studio. And he was being very smart, but it's kind of like you'd have to do it in pieces. So I'm actually thinking about at least recording a single during this time, and even if it's just kind of an acoustic thing, I'm thinking about just throwing it out there and really kind of seeing what I can get done while all this is still hot and heavy, because I feel like we do still have a decent amount of time before things start to normalize. I feel like we're on the way back down, luckily, as far as the curve goes, I guess you could say. But it's definitely we're not quite there yet, I would say.
We're getting there though, slowly but surely. So,
Zach, I'll just real quick. I'll say I'm 100% for you recording a single right now. I don't care if you do it on your iPhone, because I think I was telling the guys this yesterday when we were kind of doing our mic checks for this whole thing. Like, there's going to be this stripe of history where people are broadcasting the news and the weather from their dang living rooms.
Yep.
And there's going to be people taking pictures of empty streets and people with masks on. There's going to be this stripe of history. There's just going to be this stripe of content. If you look at just a timeline of things, and in 2020, there's going to be a dip in quality because the news was done over Skype. There's going to be a dip in quality because we couldn't go to the studio. And, it's like you can't let that stop you any more than you let a rainy day stop you from going for a run. If you want to run and you want to exercise, or you want to be productive, or you want to do these things, you can't let something like that become an excuse or a barrier. Right. You got to just
Man, have you thought about tutoring for like motivation too? I mean, like people that really
that's part of the value, man. That's what I'm telling you. Hit that link.
That math guy.
No,
he's gonna inspire the hell out of you.
But seriously, that's exactly it. And it's like,
I'm 100%.
I just lost the light, and whenever you guys heard that huge thump, that was the battery coming down, and I'm pretty sure the connector on it broke. But like we'll sit here and have an acoustic jam session in the dark. I don't care. Like, I'm all for just plowing ahead, and it is what it is at this point. Sing a song.
Yeah, I'm gonna back my mic up right quick, and then I'll play you a song.
It's all good. So
I guess this is kind of a quarantine right here. This song, and basically this is called "Want to Leave Alone."
Okay.
And we wrote it right before quarantine started, and I guess this song really goes out to people who have been quarantined with their significant other, wife, their person, and they have realized that that's their person. You know what I mean? Like, they hadn't gotten sick of each other, because the song's about not leaving that person alone. This is kind of which you really can't. You don't have an option right now, so it's kind of weird how that failed. But
I love that. Yeah. I love that. Hey, real quick, guys, everybody except for Zach, go ahead and mute your mic so we can maximize the audio quality that we get here. It is what it is, but we can try to do what we can. Zach, we appreciate it. That sounds awesome. Me and my girlfriend are kind of right there. Like, we have our little squall, and we're sure the neighbors have heard, the outburst or two. But yeah, guys.
One real quick, Zach, before you start, I think you're live. You're not live on the thing anymore, but.
I've laid down a glass of whiskey that I've left half full. Walked out on lovers who said they miss me, kind of miss them too. I had a big old hand in Vegas that I cashed out too soon, but I'm okay taking losses as long as I never lose you. 'Cause you're the only thing I can't don't wanna leave alone. And you keep me waking up each morning, you get my engine running. I said you keep my head on straight, and you put me in my place. Your love is my heart song. You're the only thing I can't don't wanna leave alone. I see Carolina, blue skies in your eyes. When you put on that Sunday dress, girl, I'm hypnotized. 10 years later and my mind's still blown. 'Cause you're the only thing I can't don't wanna leave alone. And girl, you keep me waking up each morning, get my engine running. I said put my head on straight and keep me in my place. Your love is my heart song. You're the only thing I can't don't you're the only thing I can't don't wanna leave alone.
Woo! Yeah!
Thank you.
Yeah. That was beautiful. Oh my God.
Might have been a little off pitch and squeaky. I hadn't sang today, so
that was so beautiful.
That was so good.
That was great.
That was amazing.
That was so
oh my God.
So good.
Seriously, Zach, you got to send that to us.
10 times better live in person when somebody can actually adjust all stuff. So come see it. No, I'm just kidding.
Seriously, dude, we would love this to catch your live sometime soon. And then whenever you get that song recorded, please send that to us, dude. We'll put that all over the page when we get this video done too. So
that's cool, man. I think I accidentally swiped off my live feed there. So
that's all right, man. So
apologize to anybody that was listening on my page.
Oh, you got love. You got a lot of love in the
You got lots of love. So
yeah, a lot.
Really appreciate that. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, we're working on that song, and that may be one we cut. It's lacking a lot of fiddle which will be in there. That's kind of one thing I envision. So I'm hoping I can pull a fiddle player that I know out of quarantine. I got one in particular. So if he were to happen to catch this, I hope he knows when I call him.
Okay. I think I got a countdown. My thing is saying like 10 seconds, 9 seconds remaining for my live.
Okay, so I guess what that means we have to close it out now. Oh, God.
3, 2.
Bye, guys. Thank you. I love you guys. All right, bye.
All right, so we're off IG Live for.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was great, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Mine ended too.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess what? Is it an hour only for live?
I
think so.
Yeah.
That's
Okay, that's probably why then.
Probably
so
so Instagram don't explode or something, I guess.
Yeah. Probably. It's all right though. But hey, I think we got
tell
some
you,
really
I like
good
the
stuff
Choose
here.
Love shirt, man. That's all right. That says Choose Love. I can't see the bottom.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
all
yeah,
right.
it does actually.
That's cool.
Choose love. There you go.
Thank you.
Here, let me take a picture of all of us here real quick. Let me see. All right. How do you take the picture
Okay.
here? All right. Ready. All right. Ready. 3, 2, 1. There you go. Awesome. Thank you guys. Seriously, I love
taken
this.
a picture in a long time, man. That's
Right. Honestly.
Something else, yeah.
This is so great. So, but yeah, I think.
well, guys, I appreciate it. I'm getting ready to get back on baby duty. So.
Yeah. Gotta take
Thank
care of Hattie Ray. Yeah. So,
That's right.
yeah.
Hattie Ray. Yeah.
Hattie Hayes. Yes, right. Hattie Ray Hayes.
It's HH. It's Hattie Ray Hayes. That's a little old.
Oh, nice.
Nice. On her name, but
there you go. Yeah, beautiful name right there. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look, guys, I hope y'all stay safe. I really appreciate it. I hope I've, kind of maybe enlightened you a little bit on the situation. I'm back in the thick of things Sunday, I believe. So we'll.
Nice.
Stay safe out there, man.
Yeah, stay safe.
Man.
Seriously, thank you.
All right, you guys be good, be blessed. All right.
We will do our best. So thank you guys.
Too.
All right. I love you guys. I'll see you guys then. So, all right. Peace.
All right.
All right.
Bye, guys.